Debt. It can feel like a never-ending cycle of past due bills, high interest rates, and even collection calls. You want a way out, but most companies only deal with certain kinds of debt or offer quick fixes and even dangerous solutions that can destroy your credit and put you right back where you started. At Family Credit Management, we do things differently. First, we'll review your credit report to access who and what you owe. Then, we'll create a repayment plan that's in budget, lowers interest, and eliminates fees. We'll give you a roadmap out of debt once and for all by consolidating all your unsecured debt from all your creditors in our debt management program. You pay us once a month, and we work with your creditors to take care of the rest. For over 20 years, we've been helping clients get back on track to financial independence. Now it's your turn. Get your free quote today.
Hey, we are back another week. I'm here to share with you today. My name is Tish Griffin, and I am just excited to be able to share with you some information on credit, debt, money management, just financial empowerment. And our goal is for you to live debt-free. Now, during the course of the show, we talk about a lot of different financial topics, but I do want you to realize and recognize that there is help and resources available out there. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to Family Credit Management at familycredit.org, or you can call 800-994-3328 to get some help. And you can talk with the counselor directly. You can do a chat with them online at the website, familycredit.org, and you can get the help you need, because a lot of times we don't realize that there are so many other people going through the same things that we are going through, and there's help out there, there's resources out there, and there's things that are available for you. I want you to know about that. I want you to be prepared and empowered. So just use that as a resource. Right now, we've been hearing a lot about interest rates being up everywhere. And a lot of people are scared. We're scared. We don't know what's going to happen. All we know is that money used to be cheaper, and now it's not. And we don't realize that it does really have a direct effect on us. Now, rates typically haven't gone this high in a long time, and so that's why it does not seem normal for us. We've grown accustomed to the rates, the 2%, the 3%. You know, this time last year, we were looking at rates as low as in 3%. And now when you're looking at rates, you're trying to get a home, you're trying to get an auto loan, you're trying to get financing for your business or a personal loan, rates have gone so much higher. We hear them talk a lot about the Fed interest rate, and the Federal Reserve is adjusting interest rates. And all we know is that that number is higher, but typically the number that they bring out or they introduce to us as the interest rate, that rate is the rate that the banks actually have to pay in order to get that rate. So when we look at the interest rate as a consumer, we're going to get a loan, we're going to apply for a loan. It's a higher interest rate depending on our credit, our finances, and everything. But that rate is typically higher because sometimes the bank may see us as a risk. The finance companies may see us as a risk. Our score isn't as high as we need it to be, or we haven't been on the job long. So these are factors that play into where that interest rate falls. I say all that to tell you that even if you are looking for financing, it is important to focus on what you can actually afford as far as payment, not listening to the number that's on the interest rate. The interest rates right now, some of them have gotten for a mortgage loan as high as 8%. Credit cards are high interest rates. The auto loans, the rates are becoming higher, yes. But the key for that is, what is the monthly payment? Can we afford the monthly payment? How does it work with our budget? How does it align with what it is that we're trying to do? Now let's take into account the interest rates to get a mortgage, or you were thinking about getting a mortgage and you wanted to do it before things got too bad. This time right now, what we're finding out is that compared with last year, a mortgage payment right now is probably anywhere between 50 and 72% higher than it was before. But we have to keep in mind that there's different fees, there's taxes, there's all those other things that go into that. Also is how our overall credit profile actually looks and how it rates, what rates we can actually be offered. So you want to think about that as well. Look at your finances. See what is it that you can actually afford. If you go online to Family Credit's website, there is a great spending plan, a great guide that will show you step by step what you need to do to get your budget on track. Now, I say this because the counselors that are on standby at Family Credit can send you this guide for free. As many as you need, they can send it to you for free. In this guide, it will show you how much you should be putting towards each category as far as how much your mortgage payment should be, what a decent car note looks like as compared to your income, how much you should be saving, and how much extra you might actually come out with at the end of the month. So you use all of these tools to find out what it is that you can actually afford on your monthly payment. And that way you're not scared about the interest rates that you see, because guess what? We know that it works for your budget. Now, the other thing that you want to think about, take into consideration what your actual credit score is. And this really does go a long way too, because we want to make sure that we are getting the lower rates, the lowest rates possible, the best financing possible out there. The best way for you to do that is by showing that you have steady, decent, great payment history through your credit score. Now, of course, we know that the credit report is going to follow us for years and years and years. We've got that report. We've got information that's been on there. We know that we've had some bad accounts. We've got some good accounts. We fixed things, and you still see that those things are on your credit report. And that's normal because, again, your credit report will detail things for up to 10 years. But the actual score only looks at the last 24 months worth of history. So again, if you've got those things out there, you're not sure if you should pay off that old debt, let's think about it. Are you hearing from those creditors? Are they contacting you? Not really. Then if it's from years and years ago, they're not contacting you, an option for you is to let sleeping dogs lie. Leave it alone for now. But focus on getting enough positives to counteract any negatives there. So those old debts, we want to leave alone. And let's focus on those negatives and derogatories that may have popped up now. You may also be getting collection notices, medical bills, things like that. And you may have those that they're saying, hey, if you pay us now, we won't report it to the credit bureau. Or, hey, your time's running out. We are getting ready to report this account. So we want to hash all of that out. We want to see how we can maintain positive payments and a positive payment record. And the way to do that is to know what you have, know what you're getting into each and every single month, and don't fight it. Look at it, acknowledge it that it's your debt, and let's put a plan together to take care of all of this debt, get things under control. And that way, when things pop up out the blue, you'll know what to do. If things come out of nowhere, you're like, oh, I can handle that. I knew that bill was coming, or I didn't know about it, but I've got my budget under control. I can take care of it. So again, even though those rates are showing that they're higher, things are getting a little bit tight for us. We want to focus on making sure we can afford the monthly payment and making sure we can look at our credit history, making sure that it's positive, that it's strong, that our score is good despite anything that may have happened in the past. We're looking at what's happening right now, what's on your credit report right now. And that's what we want to take a look at and focus on. Now, you may hear that there are those places out there that say, hey, we can help you with credit repair. We can fix your credit. We can do this for you. All you have to do is pay however much a month, or $500 a month, or $99 a week. But guess what? You have the power to fix things on your own. And you should be looking for those places that can help you, that can be a resource to you. You can talk to a certified credit counselor. You can look for help that way. Because when you're thinking about doing anything else, it may not work in your favor. A lot of people we know that have looked into those fancy debt repair clinics, things like that, it does not work. And you're just getting yourself deeper and deeper in debt and messing up your report. Because a lot of times the first thing that those companies do, they'll dispute an item off of your credit report. With a dispute, what happens is your score is then masked because you've disputed an account. Whatever item it is that you're disputing is putting a black mask over that item. So your actual score, we can't even really tell what it is, because when something is in dispute, it's not factored into your credit score. So that means you're thinking, oh, things are going great. My score is getting better. I just got a letter. They're sending me letters from the credit bureau saying that things are being updated and disputed. But guess what? It's leaving such a nasty tarnish on your record that it's going to take years to dig out of that. So the thing to do is to talk to a certified counselor, get the information, get the help you need, go over your credit report, go over your budget, and set a solid repayment schedule, a solid budget and spending plan that works for you. And that's the key. Not looking at what can I do real quick, what's gonna happen, these quick fixes out there. Hey, if I give them just $1,000, everything will, miraculously turn into an 800 credit score. Not likely at all. And keep in mind, any money that you can be shelling out to them that's not going towards your debt, that's going to them, is money that you could be putting on your debt on your own too. So again, when we're thinking about those rates, we want to keep things positive. We want to make sure we know what's in our budget. We know what monthly we can afford. If you have problems with that, or you can't really figure out, you don't know the best place to start with your budget, go online to Family Credit's website at familycredit.org, and I want you to download this My Spending Plan, or reach out to them and they will mail it to you for free. How cool is that? You can get a full booklet for you to write on, for you to make changes in. Again, it's available on the website, familycredit.org. So think about that. We're looking at making sure that we can afford whatever home or rent, whatever we need, all of that is in there. You want to make sure that you can afford it comfortably. You do not want to live paycheck to paycheck. No one wants to do that. And then guess what? If we find that our budget is short, we need to start going back through our bills, going back through our debt, seeing what it is that we can cut down on, what we can cut out, and what we can do to make our lives better and our budget better. Because now, hey, we might have to pay extra. If we're getting something, we want to make sure we can afford it, and you can't. The only real ways that you can do that is now we need to look at decreasing our expenses. So we're looking at what we can afford, making sure our history is positive on our credit report, and then looking at our expenses. Now let's touch back on the credit report just a little bit. When you think about your credit report, a lot of people, we're using all of the fancy tools now, such as Credit Karma, or we're using what our credit card company is sending out to us. But we also want you to keep in mind that those scores that you see on those apps, on the websites, things like that, they are most likely from a reseller, which means that it may not be the most recent and most accurate information. The most accurate, the best information, the live information that's happening right now actually is being reported through TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Those are the three bureaus that we use here most. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Now, if you want to get a copy of your credit report, you can go to annualcreditreport.com. But when you use those other sites and the tools that are out there, they're great for you to keep track of things, to know what's on your credit, what's happening. But just keep in mind, if you were to go apply for credit and you were thinking about, I'm going to use this score on this app and this is what it's telling me, I've got a 700 score. You get there to the car dealership and they say, okay, your score is 642. And you're like, no, it's 700, it says here on the app. Again, keep in mind, reseller, they don't have accurate information. It's not up to date. The best information comes from the bureaus directly. So if you're thinking about getting financing, if you're thinking about getting a home loan or an auto loan, I want you to take a look at your credit. It's best to do it 6 months in advance, but also make sure that you do it right before you walk into the dealership or right before you talk to a loan officer, so you know what your score is. When you pull your score yourself, it does not affect your credit score. If someone is granting you credit, then it will affect your credit score. So if you look at it now, you look directly with the credit bureaus, Granted, it may be a little bit different again because you're looking at the consumer score, you're looking at your score, your information is formatted for you, and lenders, servicers, finance companies, they see something just a little bit different, but the information should still pretty much be the same. So you want to take a look ahead of time so you know what you're getting yourselves into. Again, you can also contact a counselor, Family Credit, 800-994-3328, and they can go over the report with you and help you put together a plan of action for the future. How cool is that? Now, I know we've been talking a lot about this, but it's very important that you look at your own credit report. The best place for you to do that, if you're not comfortable talking to a counselor, again, stay away from what's on the apps directly. Use it for what it's worth, but go to annualcreditreport.com or go to the credit bureaus themselves directly. Best place you can get the information, right? You want to know before you walk in there, because the last thing you want to do is go to a dealership and get turned down for a car. Or they tell you, yes, we can finance you. Your rate is going to be 32.99%. That is not what you want to hear on a car, especially something that's not going to stay with you forever. So do your due diligence. I promise you, if you look it up, you know what you're getting yourselves into, you'll get the best terms because you are more aware of your finances and your financial situation. It's such an eye-opening experience to go in there and to know what you're getting yourselves into, to know that you deserve a better rate than what they're trying to offer. And then you're able to negotiate that a little bit better terms too, because you know ahead of time that you're worth it. So keep that in mind. Again, looking at your budget, looking at your credit report, knowing what you can afford, and just keeping things positive for yourselves. So we want your financial outlook to be as bright as possible. Best way to do that, again, just clarity, awareness, knowing what it is that you're working with, knowing what's on your report, knowing what's in your budget and what you comfortably afford. I talk to a lot of people that say, yes, I know I can afford that amount. Yes, that payment is great, but my budget tells me to stay here, and that's perfectly fine. Know what it is that you can afford. Keep in mind, again, things are going up. Things are becoming more expensive, so we want to see creative ways that we can save as well. Keep more money in our pockets. Also, if there's some way that we can look at increasing our income, picking up a second job, picking up a part-time job. Honestly, even using your creative talents and seeing what type of entrepreneurial spirit that you have, what can you do on your own to help and even steer yourselves in the right direction, make more money for yourselves, hold more money, and be able to be financially stable. A huge step is just making sure you know what it is that you're going through, knowing what's on your credit report, knowing what's in your budget, how much you're working with, and then being mindful and watching your own spending habits. Yes, your own spending habits. And this is something that I have to do as well. A lot of times I walk into a store and I'm like, oh my God, right at the front, they knew what I wanted, they knew what I needed the moment that I walked in, but I have to discipline myself and say, hey, that's not what I came here for. I came for groceries, not for chips, not for things that are shirts and things that are going to drain my wallet, because that's how money gets away from us. So we're going to talk more and more. Probably the next show, we're going to go over just ways that we can save more money when we grocery shop. What can we do to cut corners? What are some tips that you guys use actually to make things better for your own budget? So we'll talk a little bit more. I'll give you some ideas, some helpful tips, some ways for you to save and recognize what it is that is creating havoc, or what spending leaks you have in your own budget, because we all go through it. So remember to stay more empowered, look at that score, look at your budget, know what it is that you qualify for, know how much you have left over in the course of a month, and then work towards doing better, doing more, paying down your debt, becoming debt-free. That is what we want for you. We want you to be debt-free. And so Family Credit has counselors available on standby, ready for your calls at 800-994-3328. Go online, Family Credit's website, familycredit.org. You can chat online with a counselor. You don't even have to call. Chat online with a counselor. Get the help you need. Get the resources that you need, because there is help available. and we'll have some more resources for you in the future as well. Again, look at your credit report, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. I want to know that you're doing that. Look at them ahead of time at annualcreditreport.com. And if you're using the apps that your credit card companies are sending for you to monitor your credit or to keep track of your credit, or Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, do it wisely, do it responsibly. Remember, it may not be the same exact that lenders will see, but it will give you some idea of what's there, what you're going through, and use that to make your situation better, because the resources are there, the knowledge is there. We just want you to do what you need to do to stay financially empowered. If you've got any questions, again, reach out Family Credit, 800-994-3328, and we will look forward to seeing you again in the next show. Take care.